It's just another bad day, dark feelings are back, assaulting your heart with a panic attack. There ain't no shame in feeling depressed. You need to sit down and talk, son, get it off your chest.
Hello, this is Jon Richardson and you're listening to the Andy's Man Club podcast.
Hello everybody, welcome to the Andy's Man Club podcast. My name's Andrew Greenway. Luke, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name's Luke Campbell, one of the co-founders of Andy's Man Club.
And we have a very special guest with us today. John, would you like to introduce yourself, please?
Hello, I am the small one from 8 out of 10 Cats Does Countdown, and I have the least justification for being here, but I'm happy to be here.
And you're very welcome, John. Thanks for coming on and spending a little bit of time with us talking about, whole nature of things, really. One of the reasons we'd asked you to come along, John, was next month you'd agreed to do a gig for us.
Yeah, back in the good old days when gigs happened and people met up, and how long ago it seems.
Yeah, definitely. But obviously that was a huge thing for us to have somebody with your standing on there. We just wanted to sort of put something on as a little bit of an addition, seeing as that's had to go by the wayside. So
he's 45 minutes now for you to tell all your jokes.
I don't know who dealt with the contracts, but if you were under the impression I had 45 minutes of jokes, then somebody's lied to you already. I sort of get by mostly on charm, being too small to intimidate.
It'd be great to start with the lockdown. Obviously, your gig got cancelled for us. All our groups are off. It'd be great just to hear how are you coping? What's been going on day to day for you?
Day to day, a lot of colouring in, a lot more colouring in than I'm used to. But I'll be honest, you realise the things you're fortunate for now, and being on lockdown with a 3-year-old is the best and worst thing. She's a challenge every day, and she needs entertaining. But for something to do when, like everyone, I've got no work in the diary indefinitely. Actually, a focus on someone who isn't aware of what the virus is and everything is actually a godsend, because you just spend the day. We did a sound map in the garden yesterday. We sat in the middle of the garden and drew all the sounds we can hear. And I think without that, I'd have probably been watching a box set in a dark room. I probably wouldn't be getting dressed or opening the curtains. So it's actually a godsend. We're lucky to have a garden, and we're lucky to have the space we've got. So although it's hard, it's not nearly as hard as I'm aware it is for a lot of people.
I think that word lucky is important, isn't it? It's appreciating that. I think one thing that the three of us have definitely got in common is that we've all got young kids at home, all trying to, do us bit, keeping on top of stuff. And I keep seeing like memes stuff going around, like lockdown without kids and lockdown with kids, and it's like one with kids has got like shit all over walls, and like it's just carnage, and then other one looks real nice. A lot of people I'm speaking to who haven't got kids, they're finding it a real difficult time. Where I've only just managed to get my baby to go down now, just to jump on here with you guys. And then kids are upstairs, like your daughter is now. Not your daughter's not upstairs here, but like your daughter.
Hell of a revelation.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. Frozen on and dancing around, jumping around, and like Ben will be knocking footballs with his Leeds kit on. It's carnage, isn't it? But it's appreciated.
Yeah, I do think there'll be there will be a fundamental shift coming out of this for people with and without kids in what they appreciate about the life. And I watched a video yesterday, and someone got on a train, and I realised how excited I am just to get on the train again. It doesn't matter where I'm going or what I'm doing. Just to be able to take my daughter to the train station and ride 2 stops and come back is going to feel like going to Disney World when this is over. So
definitely,
there'll be a reappraisal. And yeah, I'm delighted to have a child on board at the moment, because I don't know what I'd be doing otherwise.
Definitely.
Brilliant. Well, like I say, I think that focus is certainly something that's helped me. Like I say, focusing on what's going on around the house and things like that. So yeah, and I think it's something that both of you two have got sort of something you can relate to, in that you're both normally away from home quite a lot on tour. Yourself, John, and obviously Luke, you work away from home quite a lot. So yeah, it's good to hear that obviously you're both dealing with that pretty well. Obviously, touching on your home as well, John, we know from your recent TV series that you live in Hebden.
Yes.
And obviously we have a club in Hebden. Trying to find a 10-year Andy's Man Club link here, but there is one there. And also your missus is from Hull as well, and we have quite one of our most successful clubs is in Hull as well.
Fantastic.
As I say, trying to find a tenuous AMC link there, but
so how many clubs have you got at the moment then?
We've got 28. Well, I suppose strictly speaking, we can say we've got 29 now. I suppose, can't we? That we're doing something online with obviously the 28 existing clubs that we have. They're all on the online platform, speaking in exactly the same way that we are now, using the same technology. hosting those meetings on a Monday night that last night had, what was it, Luke, 346 guys?
336.
So that's a phenomenal turnout for something that's, you know, an unprecedented circumstance for us. But yeah, like I say, we've also last night trialled that with some new guys as well, trying to find obviously space for those guys to fit in as well. So I suppose, strictly speaking, at this moment in time, I could say we've got 29.
Well, I suppose as well, this is a sort of actually a unique chance for you to not be geographically tied. You know, once you get over that hurdle of making people feel comfortable talking online, because it's obviously not the same. But once you get over that hurdle, they don't have to be in Hull, I guess, to join a web link, do they? They could be anywhere and join in. Is that right?
Yeah, that's
exactly that.
At this moment in time, yeah. And I think we've said, haven't we, that we're going to look at moving forward how this will affect the sessions and what we do with them and things like that. And we look.
Yeah, we were against what we like the. It's like going back to cavemen days, I guess. It's just sitting around a fire and chatting at the end of the day, and that's what I think special about this man club. You sat in a circle, you sat around, look at another man in the eyes who's going through a similar battle to you. And I were probably a bit against the technology side of it, and until we've had to use it, the hand's been forced, but it's still just as good. Like, there's 3 blokes now just sat on here having a normal chat that might not have got the opportunity. And, you know, it doesn't matter where you are, does it, in the world, as you said. You know, the next phase of this technology is to roll it out that you can be anywhere in the country, and it's just try to keep a lid on it so that it just don't go too big too quick and we can't manage it.
Yes, yeah, I guess you want to stay in control and keep the focus on getting people back in the room. I do think you're right. There's something about the effort as well of going to the club and, you know, meeting the people and being there that is, you know, it might be a bigger hurdle to overcome at first, but once you've done that, there's a real sense of achievement, I guess.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What did you know about Andy's Man Club before agreeing to do the gig?
I've seen
quite
quite a lot of your press,
with it, or?
Yeah, I've seen you on the shirts at Leeds, but I've read, obviously, because did you start around Halifax, or is Halifax a key area?
Yes.
Yeah, so obviously we're just down the road, so I've sort of seen it grow and grow, really, and I think it's fantastic. I think it's unlike anything else, really, and it's sort of openness, and I like the sort of openness of just coming up and talking. You know, there's no implication you need to be going through a certain thing. You just need to want to come and talk about some of the difficult aspects of life. And I think that's really important at the moment. I think you're probably, through the avenues that you're using, you're probably reaching men who aren't being reached by other charities and campaigns, precisely because it has a unique feel to it, these clubs. And I think that's massive.
Class.
Well, I was going to touch on that thing with the Leeds t-shirts as well. Obviously, you're quite a publicised, massive Leeds fan, and you know.
Yeah, I'm out.
You what? Sorry.
I'm out and proud.
And
sorry about that, boys.
We've had fantastic support from clubs like Huddersfield Town and Leeds United this year, which has been huge. And obviously, getting the support of somebody like yourself off the back of that's massive for us as well. So, you know, been fantastic to see such support. Going to touch as well, if we can do now, John, on something that we do in Andy's Man Club, if you're happy to do this. We're going to sort of throw you, you know...
Tops off.
No, not
right.
Don't worry. We're going to look at answering some of our questions 4 and 5, if you like. Every single week, the structure of Andy's Man Club is question 1, 2 and 3 stay the same. Yeah. The questions 4 and 5 change every single week, and sometimes they're a little bit funny, sometimes they're a little bit, you know, a focus or a challenge or something like that. So we're just going to throw some of our question 4 and 5s to you and put you on the spot a little bit, if that's all right. So,
Andy,
yes, mate.
Just a thought there, just because John he's been so open and buying into this and what we're about. Might be good for us 3 now, just to run them in a little session.
Yeah, I'm happy to do that. If you're happy to do that, John.
I'm here.
And then you can lead into those 4 and 5s.
Right,
no problem. Just anyone who's watching this to get a feel of what we do, but then obviously also us 3 just have a great way to have that little interaction in it, and then John will feel about what we're about. And you can facilitate that, then, couldn't you?
Right, no problem at all. So putting me on the spot as well, quite like. Not wrong with that. So
that's what we're about, isn't it? We're real and we're raw.
Definitely. So question 1 every single week in Andy's Man Club is, how's your week been? My week this last week has been really positive, as I've said previously, about spending time with my little lad and kicking footballs around in the garden and playing Lego Star Wars. But also, you know, sitting down with him and doing a little bit of schoolwork and things like that, and sort of putting a bit of focus and routine into his life has been really positive. And obviously doing the stuff that I do day to day with AMC, seeing the response that we've had to the online meetings. Last night for me was a real sort of high point of the week after the meetings, because I'm obviously in a lot of the closed pages, just sort of flicking through my Facebook and seeing guys going on there saying, that's phenomenal, thanks so much for that tonight, guys, I really needed that, and stuff like that is a real positive. So that's how my week's been. And as we always throw to something of a co-facilitator, Luke, I'll throw to you. How's your week been?
Oh, nice. I reckon probably a bit like what John said earlier, just to echo that. So obviously my business is speaking for a living, and every single gig indefinitely has been cancelled with no sign of when there might be an income. My missus also owns a business, and her business is closed indefinitely. So right now, as this moment stands, there's no income coming in. But I feel completely and utterly liberated. Like, just everything that I've been off doing and rushing around and trying to build this, and even with AMC, and everything's constantly busy. And I think we judge success a lot on how busy we are, where I found that this has been what's been beautiful about this time is just being able to go sit in garden and have nothing to do. And it's mad that like tomorrow there's no plan, Thursday there's no plan, Friday there's no plan. If it even is Tuesday today, is it Tuesday? I'm not even sure. I just find that really liberating and completely and utterly just in awe with what the NHS are doing. And just appreciating what I've got. I've got some family members that are poorly. We've got one of our amazing facilitators who's also extremely poor. There's 2 people I know in ICU now and one that's died. So I'm just taking stock and appreciating the fact that we're still breathing, and that's a big, big thing. So yeah, week's been fantastic.
Brilliant. Cheers, Luke. John, how's your week been?
I'd agree with what Luke says, really. I think, week one is a bit of a panic, and week one was all about what do we do now in terms of lifestyle and routine, and how do we get food. And week two has been a lot more, do you know what, we're all healthy and we're all fine. And in the grand scheme of things, that's all that matters. And I think we are progressing into if this goes on indefinitely, and I think even when we come out of lockdown, the world will operate differently. Certainly from my point of view, I can see a point where bars and restaurants reopen, but as for theatres and 3,000 people sat next to each other, we might be looking a long time before that's happening. So we're trying now to set up, if this is how we have to work indefinitely, like you putting your classes online, I'm trying to work out what of the work I did can I still do, and how can we, if this is the new normal, go forward. And that is a more positive step than retrospectively thinking, well, everything's gone. You look forward and think, right, well, how do we set up this routine now? What can we do? What is the new routine, so that we know what is happening if this went on for another 6 months? And that's more positive than the last.
Fantastic. Question number 2 then is, what's one positive from your week? The main positive from my week has been, as I said, time with family. Really enjoying spending time with not just the little lad, but my missus as well. It goes back to touching on what you guys have just said about what's important, and it's what's inside these 4 walls. So yeah, it's been a really positive week in that sense. So that's been the major positive from my week. Luke?
I think it's those 2 guys who are close, both facilitator and family member, who are still fighting in ICU. I think that's a big positive, that they still got that fight about them. And every time I'm out in garden, I just literally just think about that, the fact that, how positive it is that you're just able to take that breath each day. And that, what this whole thing has taught is that life at any point can just change on a tuppence cart. It can just flip. And if you can take stock and appreciate what you've got, I think you'll have everything that you need.
Brilliant. John?
Yeah, again, it's all health. It's all, I'm very fortunate at the moment that everyone in my close friend and family group is well, and that is an absolute blessing. And I have friends in the NHS, a friend in A&E, and family members all over the country. Even like my cousin, his job is to mend industrial washing machines, and he's someone that you wouldn't naturally think of on the front line. But those are the washing machines that allow hospitals to clean the sheets and to keep sanitary and keep going. So he's in and out of work, and you realise actually how far this pans out and how many people are connected. And I think nationally we're having a conversation now about what a key worker is and who are the people that keep the country going, and it's not who we thought it was. And that is an immensely positive thing going forward, I think.
Fantastic. Question 3 every single week is there anything you need to get off your chest? I'm at this moment in time, I don't need to get anything off my chest, so I'll throw that one over to you, Luke.
2 things. One would be, I think when you have got people. I think this situation initially wasn't taken that seriously. You know, seeing the odd bit on social media, you know, people out and about still. And then people putting blame, living this bit of a blame culture, don't we, in this society? And I think it's just about people just taking a bit of ownership, you know, accepting that, you know, we're very lucky. We've all got roofs over our heads, and all you've been asked to do is stay in your house. So my big one is that. Another one is we don't talk about politics, AMC, but I think, you know, in being a leader right now, you know, leader of an organisation like ours, which is tough. Imagine being leader of this country and then also getting struck ill, and you've got one eye on that you want to get better, one eye that you want to lead country. And I think, but a big one for me is just that people need to put politics, religion, and all like beliefs for now to one side. I think the new Labour guy's done a great message in saying that it's not about politics right now, it's about getting this nation on track. So there'd be only 2 rants for me. I don't often ever have a rant. There'd just be 2 little ones that I just think, like, if everyone took away from this, it's one, you know, taking stock, and 2, just listen to the rules. We could live in a country now where, like China, where they say stay indoors, and it's just, okay, I'll love for. But we don't do it. We've been a bit of a carrot. You can keep going out, but just don't abuse that.
Brilliant. Cheers, Luke. Anything from yourself, John?
No, I would agree with that, and I would agree with, you know, there is a sense of, there's definitely a blame culture in the country, and there's definitely people wanting to lash out. And I think, you know, we saw it a lot with Brexit, split the country, and it's worth reminding people all the time that nobody's actually trying to make things worse for anyone. No, you know, no politician goes into politics to make people's lives worse. You know, you might disagree with the way they're trying to do it. And on a small level, this morning my wife gave my daughter a cupcake at 9:30, which means when I come off this podcast, she's going to be high on sugar, and I'm not going to be able to give her any treats for the rest of the day because she's giving her a cake at 9:30. So it's a long day of Daddy being the boring one today.
Well, I don't envy you on that one.
No.
Right, question 4 this week. We'll use last night's, just because obviously they're fresh in the memory. What is one piece of positive advice that someone has given you'd like to share? Control the controllables is something that's been touched on an awful lot by an awful lot of people just at this moment in time, and it's something that I'm trying to focus on. There's an awful lot going on news stations and things like that, and it's, you know, I can't necessarily control that. You know, obviously, Luke, you touched on people going out and about and things like that. I can't control what other people are doing. I can control what I do and how I respond to this circumstance we find ourselves in. But control the controllables, because I think it's, you know, it can be taken into every single walk of life and every single aspect of your life. If you can control what you can control, let other people control what they can control, and, you know, ultimately we'll end up where we need to be. So that's one from myself, and it's one of yours that I know that you use quite a lot as well, Luke. Yeah,
mine would be from the Queen, not that I've personally sat in the chat with her. I just thought the other day it was brilliant. She said something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but basically just that it will pass. And we talk about that a lot, don't we, with mental health and depression and anxiety, that, you know, these dark times will pass. And she basically said that, like, you know, we will meet again. Like, what's going on right now, you know, and coming from someone like her who has been through war, who has been through a lot, you know, she's been in power 60 years, and like to hear her say that, it just made me like, wow, you know, it was weirdly emotional. I don't know why. I don't really get emotional by much stuff, but just seeing her there, you know, she's knocking on each end, to get the wisdom of her just to say that, and it probably written by someone else maybe, but it's still just that the fact that it will pass. I think anything that's going on in your life right now, a relationship breakdown, financial, you know, you don't know whether you're going to work again, you don't know when you're going to see some of your family again. Everything that's happening right now will pass. How long, we don't know, but as long as you know that it will pass, you'll get through it.
Brilliant. Cheers, Luke. Anything from yourself, John?
Well, I did a podcast yesterday with 2 guys called Mark Stevenson and Ed Gillespie, who are they call themselves sort of futurists, but they're people who work looking at, you know, the problems we're going to face. And I dodged the bullet absolutely and asked them this question. Since they're the professionals, I would tell you what they said. And one was, you know, in these times where you can't make big decisions about your life and you can't really change the massive things, what you can do for your mental health and your health in general is the small things. So try and get the sunlight, even if it's through the window. Try and eat well as you can. You know, I do think that there is a massive link between the food you eat and your sort of your gut health and the way you feel. So try and eat the right sort of foods. Garlic and turmeric. It sounds pathetic to be saying in a time of global crisis, try and eat healthier food, but if you can, it will make you feel better. And also, Ed said, try and defer, you know, your responsibility onto other people and try and look after other people. And whether it's shopping for a neighbour or whether it's just looking after a plant in your house, he said even nurturing a plant, it gives you a focus outside of yourself and something else to look after. And that is another key thing that, selfishly, it will make you feel better in these times to care for other people and other things.
Quality advice.
Brilliant. Yeah, I love that. Question number 5 then. Quite appropriate, seeing as though we have a comedian on as well as this one. No pressure on you though, John. But the last question last night was, what was the last thing that made you laugh out loud? The last thing that made me laugh out loud was actually somebody's response to this question last night. I was absolutely howling. But as we know, what's said in AMC stays in AMC, so I won't share that here. And I said the same last night. I can't necessarily put my finger on anything in particular because there's been quite a lot of laughter around this house this last few weeks with my little lad. And he's an absolute character. So it will be something that he's said or done, and he's probably taken a vernacular from me, or telling me to bugger off or something like that. So, that will be the last thing, something my little lad did. Like I said, there's been that many just this last week that I can't particularly put my finger on any one. But yeah, last thing that made you laugh out loud, Luke, please.
See, this won't be funny, right? But it actually just made me laugh the other day, and it was on Twitter. And basically, some guy had shared another guy's, like two young lads. Basically, one took a Snapchat picture of like a meal his nan's made for him, and he put like. And one was like, typical what they put like something like unreal dinner by my nan. It wouldn't be funny now, but to me, it's only time recently where I couldn't stop laughing, and it was basically like his nan's just got like 8 sausages. She's chucked them on middle of this plate, and then she just drowned it in like cheap beans, and they're dripping offside. And for some reason, the fact that this lad were buzzing about his meal, and someone else just put, because you know what the world's like in this be kind world, it was something like. I can't remember what they put, but it was just whatever they put just tickled me. That was the last time I laughed out loud.
Brilliant. Cheers, John. Anything?
Yeah, mine's food related as well. I saw someone post, because what's depressing for a comedian in these times is the realization that people are much funnier than you are, and it's a real sort of mixed bag. Every time I open my phone and check Twitter, I see sort of depressing news. And then I see a meme or a video that somebody has filmed just in their house that is more creative and funnier than anything I've churned out in the last 10 years. So even when lockdown ends, whether I go back to work is dependent on how many other people decide to try and be a comic. But I saw a post this morning that was food related. And what's amazing about them at the moment is they really emphasize that everybody is going through this together. And I know some people are more affected. We talk about, see some people have lost jobs and some people are on 80% of a decent salary. It's not the same boat entirely, but everybody is affected somehow. And I think it's very rare with your mental health or a problem. It sometimes can feel very personal. And actually, it's very rare when you're dealing with something to be able to say, well, everyone in the world at the moment is going through some form of, struggle with this. And that is a relief. And I saw someone tweeted this morning that they'd watched Jamie Oliver's Keep Calm and Carry On Cooking. And she said, what I love about it is that you can substitute ingredients you've got. So I cooked his aubergine dal with Herbie flatbreads, and then it's just a picture of beans on toast. It was an instant, it's funny, and it's a release of, I'm glad everybody else is just having beans on toast for tea and feeling slightly guilty about it because they can't be arsed and they haven't got anything else. But yeah, it's really good.
Brilliant. Well, cheers for that.
And,
yeah, mate.
I remember the last time I really laughed out loud when I watched 8 out of 10 Cats.
You flirt, you. Meet the Richardsons, available on UK TV Player now.
And then I watched The Office and it just topped it.
Can't beat the classics.
So, I've not seen the Donald Trump impersonator.
Which one's that? I'm good friends with a there's a comedian called Matt Ford who, for my money, does the best Donald Trump impersonation in the country.
A great one at minute.
Yeah, if you search at Matt Ford on Twitter, his Donald Trump is the best I've ever seen.
I'll have a look for that because I put Donald Trump and Tyson Fury's dad on a par. They're just unbelievable human beings in terms of what they say. I just find them. And before anyone jumps on and says that I'm getting political, saying I support Donald Trump, I'm not saying that. I just find that there's just some of the stuff that the way he rates himself. How do you feel he's been handling this pandemic? 10 out of 10. And I just think, I just don't know how you'd even dare say it.
Yeah, there's a self-confidence there that I think we could all take something from, even if you don't agree with anything he's ever done or said. There's a self-confidence there that is remarkable.
To be unbelievable. They said the other day about with our chief scientific officer has now said that they want people in the US to wear face masks, but I'm saying it's voluntary. I won't be wearing one. It's up to you whether you do. And just that, he's just on another level, isn't it?
We'll see where that ends.
Yes.
So that was your first experience of an AMC there, John. That was exactly how we run it on a Monday evening as well. So, you know, as Luke says, it sort of gets it out there for people to see.
I think it's fantastic, and I think the framework means you can, you know, if you have got something more serious, you can take it as serious as you like, or you can just join in, and yeah, it's a fantastic model.
Brilliant. No, we appreciate that. Obviously, as we are a tea and coffee club as well, quite a divisive subject. We've already said we don't talk about divisive subjects like politics, religion, or meds, but what does cause quite a lot of disruption in people is how's the best way to make a cup of tea. So I'm going to ask you your ideal routine for making a cup of tea. You are somebody as well who's quite open with the fact that you do sort of deal with issues around OCD and things like that.
Fastidious arsehole, you can say it. I'm more of a coffee drinker than a tea drinker, I have to say. But personally, I drink the sort of tea that really upsets tea drinkers. I like a lot of milk in there because we have oat milk as well. So you need about half a gallon of that per tea bag, but it looks dog shit. It looks like someone's washed a paintbrush in a bucket. It really looks horrible, but I quite like it like that. And I've started drinking herbal tea of an evening as well, which is it's a real sign of the times and a sign of age. But you know, you've got to have some sort of structure at the moment, and it can't be opening a bottle of wine every day at 6 o'clock. So the last couple of nights has been mint tea and licorice tea. And I'm embracing the new me, and the new me sits down of an evening and watches a bit of telly and drinks licorice tea. But I feel better in the morning, I'll tell you that. But I did again ask, I asked an expert about this, and they said the milk first is the correct way, because if you add water to milk, that forms an emulsion, which is a smoother mouthfeel experience than if you add the milk afterwards. They never combine as well. So there's a scientific answer, whether you believe it or not.
When I said it was going to be divisive, I didn't think it was going to be this divisive. I think I agree with nearly everything you've just said.
Yeah, don't at me, don't tweet me. Don't tweet me, you know.
Yeah, no, I'm very much a waterman, and then followed by the milk, but each to their own, very much so. Do you have a particular routine? I agree with you as well. I think we're all coffee men in here, knowing how much Luke likes his coffee, and I'm a coffee drinker as well. I'm in the unfortunate circumstance where we've run out of coffee. I've not had a coffee for a week and a half.
Wow. Well, that's though, because they say that you only need a few days off coffee and your body sort of forgets it's ever had caffeine. So the next time you have one, you're going to be razzing off your tits for about a week because it'll be like you've never had one. So
that's what I need to do then.
You have a quick detox.
Never break off the coffee.
So yeah, I know that you're a massive coffee drinker though, Luke, but what's your preferred method of making a cup of tea?
Cup of tea, it's got to be. My dad's a proper tea drinker, so he always used to make us proper brew it. To go back and get that tea bag proper brewed, and you could never put milk in first. I'm going to clip round here for milk in first. So hot water, get that tea bag brewed, leave it in for about 4 days for my dad, then add another tea bag, double dip it, and then put my tiny drop of milk in, and then I got a 10 out of 10 for that.
I was going to ask if you double dip. I lived with a comic called Jon Richardson once he'd start the day, he'd have a regular tea bag and an Earl Grey tea bag, and he'd leave them stewing for about 10 minutes in there. It was a proper kick in the face.
That's a curveball.
Yeah, you need it sometimes, especially in kids.
Yeah.
A builder's tea mixed with an Earl Grey as well, but that's a refined taste.
Yeah, you get the hit of the builders, and you get a little perfume. The bergamot just kicks in. It's a very masculine household, as I'm sure you can tell.
Right, brilliant. So I think we're sort of coming to the end of our little chat here, but just to say thanks to you, John, for coming on and being so supportive of Andy's Man Club.
It's a pleasure. Well done to you. I honestly think it's a phenomenal thing you've done, and I think, you know, if I had a question, I was interested in how you got from that point of a tragedy to turning that into something positive, because I think that's something that I think, you know, a lot of people can. I've always struggled in my past. When it has gone bad, there's a real temptation to sort of wallow and sort of accept defeat. And I think I wonder what was that first step from the tragedy you went through to setting up the first group?
Not me, Andy.
Yeah, obviously it's the question to yourself there. I think Luke obviously is one of the co-founders of the organisation.
Yeah, when Andy died, it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Been through a lot of shit myself, playing rugby, getting let go from a decent team, and my head being all over. And when I hit my own rock bottom, I'd come up with this theory that I talk a lot about called "What's Next," which is what Andy's talking about earlier about focusing on what you could control. Before it was even called anxiety, I was a big worry, so I'd focus on everything that I couldn't control, let it all get out of hand. And then it turned into this "What's Next," which meant, okay, what can I do about it? And it really started to work in my own life. So when Andy died, I always say it were the screech of telling my little boy, his nephew, that really just give us that kickstart to say, no, a family should go through this. It's about helping one more man. So I remember 4 days after Andy died having the idea and approached my missus about it. And obviously at that point it was still very raw. So it was like less funeral light away and still mourning. And then I approached my mother-in-law at a wedding and I was just like, right, we've got to do something here. We've got to find that one man. And that's why we have this tagline now, #that one man, because that's what we're always about. And that same driving force has still been there ever since. And that theory can be used in anything from breaking up with someone to, okay, you can sit and look at everything that has been, but you can't physically change the past. All you can change is what will be. And that was the mentality behind it. The mindset was, what's next? And it's just a simple question. What can I do next about this? And that's what I've been using throughout this whole period now as well, because we're all in a bit of a tragedy. But yeah, that tragedy, that pain, I believe after any tragedy or any setback, you get two options. You either let that pain use you, which is dark and it's heavy, or you use that pain as motivation. And I think now we're at a point where everyone in our organisation uses that pain, because what ends up happening is Andy dying with a catalyst for it starting. But what you get now is you get a man who walks through the door with his own pain. That pain then gets eased by sharing it. And then he now wants to use his pain and the pain of others to help more men. So then he sets up a group in his area. And that's how it's sort of gone. And people often think using pain could be detrimental, but I think working away from pain into pleasure is nothing but beneficial.
It's amazing, yeah. It's superb. It's I think the same about comedy. I think a lot of comedy is about turning the most difficult situations in your life and other people's lives into something that gets a laugh. And I think it's remarkable what you've done. If you need any help in future, my next mission is to get you Ricky Gervais, so you can get some proper laughs on this podcast and get some proper reach. And I shall harass until I can get you Ricky Gervais. But yeah, I think it's phenomenal. You've done an amazing job, and I'm happy to help out wherever.
No,
we appreciate it, mate. You've been amazing. We as much as it'd be nice to get anyone else, we're very grassroots. Like as we've just had a joke. Andy's sat there in his spare bedroom. I'm sat here in what's meant to be a play. Well, he's definitely a playroom because his toys everywhere. Sat on top of it's getting lent on. I'll show everyone on top of the kids' toy box. So it's very grassroots. We're not into high tech. We're not fancy, which I think why so many people buy into what we do, because we are just a grassroots organisation and always will be, no matter how big we continue to get.
You'll be needed now more than ever. There'll be a lot of people in difficult circumstances, and I can recommend, I found that experience. It was good for me just to step away from, family life and talk for a bit. So I would recommend to anyone, find the classes, find them online, find them in your town, get involved.
Legend.
Thanks so much, John. Right, thank you to everybody as well for tuning in, spending a little bit of time with us and John today. And we'll sign off as we always do by saying it's okay to talk.
It's okay to talk.
Down and talk, son, get it off your chest. It's just another bad day. Dark feelings are back, assaulting your heart with a panic attack. There ain't no shame in feeling depressed. You need to sit down and talk, son, get it off your chest. Big boys don't cry, but men do.